Hi everyone! In our last video from this Rita Berman Autumnal Wreath series, well, we started actually with doing the acorn, and as you can see I have done the other four. Now I realised actually when I was doing them that they all differed very slightly in that where the shade went changed. So this one we did darker on this side because it was slightly lower and where it was overlapped, whereas this one was slightly lower here, so I did it a little, and where it was near the leaf I did a little bit of extra shadowing, and this one towards the top and the same as this one towards the top. So they're all slightly different, so I hope you coped okay with that. I'm sure you did. I'm sure yours look lovely. And now today I am going to move on, and I thought I would do this strawberry. He's quite fun. I think he's the only strawberry on the page, so he'll be quite fun to do. We shall zoom in. Now he's got his seeds. Whoop, I'm going to go out a tad. There we go. So it's got seeds going on as well. So I'm trying to think about what to do with those because they're quite big, and we've got a little tiny dot and a larger area. Now with my crayons, I'm not quite sure if I can quite get in there. Now sometimes I'm thinking that tiny dot might be supposed to be a light reflecting off the seed, so maybe I will do it like that and leave that white, do the seeds black and the strawberry red. I'm going to leave the seeds till last. That's because if I go in first with a black, I may smudge it into the red. Whereas if I do the red part first, then the black on top, hopefully it won't smudge in that way. Now with the strawberry, we're looking at a sort of orangey red colour, I think, maybe pinky red? Not sure. We're going to mix it up and see what happens anyway. I'm going to be using my Bambino crayons again. So I'm just picking the red one first, which has got these lovely little bunny rabbits on. And I'm just going to do the main part. Simply colour a layer of red on the whole of the strawberry. Now I'm going to go around, as I say, around these bits because I'm going to do them black. It doesn't matter too much if you go over the edge really, because you're going to be going over it in black. That's quite a dark colour, and if you go over a lot and the black doesn't want to layer, you can always use a pen, a black pen or something, to make them really shine out. So we'll see. Some strawberries don't have black seeds, they have yellow. And so you could choose to do that instead if you're not keen on the idea of doing black. I just think the black might stand out, but and I'm happy with that idea, but you might think, nah, I'd rather it didn't stand out too much. Oh, I'll do a different colour. So it's up to you really. Look at my best advice would be look at some photos, go onto your search engine, just type in strawberry, see what they look like, and then you can decide which you think looks best, or you just might want to go completely into your own creativity and imagination and do something that isn't actually realistic at all, which is brilliant. So as you can see, I'm just colouring the first basic base layer, and now I'm going to think a little bit about where is it going to be darker, where is it going to be lighter. And I'm going to do some shading, oops, pick up the wrong colour, in this colour. Now this is a purpley red colour. It's actually put in with the browns in the Bambinos, but I don't feel it's really a brown. There's a sort of elk or moose or something on here. And my first thought is under the leaves here, there'd be a little bit of shade and shadow. So I'm going to put in this darker colour. You can see it's not massively dark, so that's why I quite think it works quite well with red. In fact, I can barely see it. I'm going to put down a little bit more. If it's not dark enough, I might do some purple instead. See, the fun thing about having a limited palette is that you have to experiment around with mixing your colours to get what you want, and I think it's really helpful. You can basically mix things up a lot and see what happens really. So again, I'm trying to put a bit of darker at the bottom, but it's not really showing up. So as I said, I'm going to grab a purple. Now with the purples, The one in the lighter paper with the camel on is actually the darker purple, which is the one I've grabbed. It needs sharpening, which is why I've taken it away again. There we go. So I shall try laying a bit of this down. It might just be that I layered the red too hard. Ah no, look, we're getting a little bit now. It looks a bit shadowy. That's more like what I wanted. So you can actually see quite a contrast in the colour. Not huge. I don't want it to look, you know, really defined, but just a bit of shadow here and there. There we go. And what I'm going to do now is go back to my red and put some red on top of here and up at this bottom bit. So everywhere I want it to be a bit darker, I'm going to go over the top of with the red, and I'm going to try and fade that down a little bit, because you wouldn't, well, you might with this shadow a little bit, but normally there's a sort of progression in the colour change. So we'll take it up a little like that. And I'm going to make sure I've got a nice dark colour on each edge so that it might look a little bit less flat. And then in the central part, where I'm quite happy with it being a little bit paler, I'm going to use this pale pink colour. Now this has got a dinosaur on it. Is that a Brontosaurus? I don't know. My boys would have been able to tell me when they were about 3 years old. Very into the old dinosaurs they were, but not so much now. But it was quite fun. I had a great book about them I used to read to them. I did learn things, but I can't really remember it now. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you want your colours more defined, you're going to have to add more layers of the darker colour. I'm quite happy. I'm just going to go over this bottom bit in a little bit of red, but I'm quite happy with it like this. Now, depending on the paper that you use will depend on how many layers you can get of the crayons. And it can be quite worth, if you're new to them, slowly building up layers or trying them out on different papers so you get used to how they work. But they're not massively different pencils, I don't think. Now I'm going to grab my black and we're going to do the seeds. It's going to be straightforward. This one, the circle is a dot, so I'm going right over it. This one it's not. Now I'm going to try to preserve the white circles, but I'm not going to panic if it doesn't work, because we are going to go over them with a pen. If necessary, we can grab a white gel pen, Posca pen, and just write in those dots. But if I can be accurate in my colouring, then I won't need to. But I'm not going to worry too much about getting it perfect. I never do. For me, colouring is about relaxation and fun. If you're worrying about getting it perfect, then it's not going to be like that, is it? It's not going to be relaxing and fun. So there we go. I'm quite happy with the dots. I'm not going to add any pen. As I say, you certainly can if you think that you need to add a little something to your strawberry. Now I think we'll do the green leafy stemmy bit as well. Now my greens are getting a bit small, look, but that's fine. Now strawberries are quite a dark green, but I like to vary it up a bit with the bambinos and have a few different colours. We've got a couple of greens. So this is the darkest green, which has got the little frog design on it, and I'm going to do that at the bottom of the leaves and then fade it towards the tip. So in order to do that, I press a little harder at the bottom, but I also put more layers on top of each other and then reduce the pressure and just do less layers towards the top. And it does take practice. I do make it sound very simple, but you know, I've been colouring since 2013, so as an adult I didn't do a lot as a child, to be honest. I did have colouring books, I had felt tip pens, I had crayons, but it wasn't a big thing for me. Now the other end of the stem, let's pull across, we can see it's coming up from somewhere down here. I'm just looking to see if we've got the base anywhere through the picture. No, so that's okay. So I'm going to do this bottom bit here in the darker green as well, and then bring it up the stem and start to fade it from here a little bit, so less layers, less pressure, bringing it up, because I think the light's going to be catching it here where it's at its highest. And same with this bit, so starting to fade, it's going to be darker down here and lighter up there. Okay, now this leaf here I think belongs to this strawberry. Okay, so we're going to do this leaf as well. I think that is the end of the leaf there. I don't think that line, I think that's a gap. Sometimes it's just worth spending a little bit of time working that out to get it right. Okay, so there's our dark green. I'm going to go on to the lighter green. This is my baby. He's got a cow pattern on, which is quite cute. And we're just going to go over the green where we started to reduce the layers and do more layers here where it's overlapping and less towards the tip, so that you can see the difference between the different shades of green. And here, now here I want to be very careful to make sure I get my fade in exactly the right place. I'm going to do some from each direction. I find it easier to do that. So coming up here, across here, I just want the tiniest bit, do you see? And but I've got a line here which I want to eliminate by just pulling it up slightly. There we go. And then we've got this little bit to do a similar thing with. Now I'm not going to leave this quite so pale on this one, but I'm going to fade it up here a bit. There we go. Now this leaf again going over the top of the darker colour and fading it up towards the tip of the leaf. So there we go. So I'm just going to talk you through pens before, although I'm not doing any white, I'll show you the sort of two options that I have here. Now I rather like these Sakura Jelly Roll pens. They come in different nib sizes. This is the 8, there's a 10, my 10's run out, I use it a lot, and there's a 5. The larger the nib, the easier the ink, the paint flows out of it, which can be useful. But if you want a very tiny dot, you need to use a smaller pen. So I would use a 5 for the tiny ones there. The other option I have here is a Posca. Again, they have different nib sizes. I tend to use the PC1MR. It's the smallest as far as I'm aware. And as it says pin type, I'll show you, it's one like that. Now it's really clogged up, it's old, it's got a lot of, you can wash all that off. Wipe it off with a tissue. With these you have to shake them. You can hear there's a little ball bearing inside which mixes up the paint, and you pump the nib up and down to get the paint out. This one you don't do that, there's no ball bearing, you don't shake it, but I have been told that if it feels like the ink is running out and it might be stuck in the roller ball at the end, you can pump it a little bit to get some ink through, paint through. I have tried that on one that was running out, that had actually run out, so it didn't do anything, but you can use it as a last resort to check. So that is it, that is our strawberry. Again, I'm going to cut this one fairly short. I'm not going to do another one. I think there's others will probably take too long for an additional part on one video. So I'll leave this, and tomorrow or the next time I give you a Rita video, it will be another one from this autumnal wreath. So I hope that was okay. Thank you very much for watching, and happy colouring.